Welcome everyone to the very first Culture and History of Anime podcast. I'm your host, Daniel O, and today I'll be introducing the topic of anime to you all and one of the biggest non-profit organizations related to anime. So whether you know a lot about the medium already or are completely new, hopefully this short podcast will teach everyone a little bit more about this worldwide phenomenon. And of course, if you are listening to this on a different platform other than from my blog site, feel free to check out my blog where I discuss more about anime at danthegoldman.wordpress.com. When you hear the word anime, you may be a bit confused on how that came to describe such a medium of Japanese animation shows. Well, it turns out that the word itself is a loan word from Japanese to mean animation or cartoons in general. Although drawings and cartoons have existed since the early 20th century, it wasn't until the 70s and 80s that anime started to become a hit in Japan and develop a unique style of animation. It would be in 1985 that famed Japanese animator, director, author, and manga artist Hayao Miyazaki would found Studio Ghibli, creating masterpiece films like Grave of the Fireflies, My Neighbor Totoro, Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, and Howl's Moving Castle. Do any of those titles sound familiar? They're considered anime movie classics that everyone would have heard of at least once. And even though most of the films were created decades ago, the fact that many people today still discuss and watch them proves how influential his works were and continue to be. Just 1 year later, in 1986, one of the most famous classic Japanese anime of all time would be released, Dragon Ball. The cultural impact this single show had on not just Japan, but on the rest of the world was unparalleled up to that point, and launched the medium of anime into the rest of the world, where it would soon explode into more popularity. It was in the 1990s that Japanese anime developed their unique style of look for their characters. Large eyes, colorful hair, and outlandish body proportions. Along with that came shows that fit into a multitude of genres, ranging anywhere from action, fantasy, sci-fi, drama, romance, slice of life, and comedy. Another landmark in anime history arrived in the mid-90s when both the Pokemon game and anime came out in Japan. Originally called Pocket Monsters in the Japanese translation, it was a show about Ash Ketchum, a kid who wanted to be the best Pokemon trainer in the world by catching unique creatures and battling against other trainers to be the champion. Pokemon would later become arguably the most popular and successful Japanese cartoon and anime franchise to come into fruition, leading to an explosive Pokemon craze both in Japan and all over the world, especially in the United States. With the game and show being dubbed in various languages, it was no wonder that nearly everyone and their mother was infatuated with such a piece of media, or at least have heard of it. It wasn't until the 2000s and early 2010s that anime started to become mainstream in media in various places outside Japan. More popular anime emerged, most notably One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. They were dubbed the Big Three because of how mainstream they become in Western countries, along with the fact that they had extremely long runtime, with One Piece still going on since the 90s with over 1,000 episodes, Naruto with over 700 episodes, and Bleach with almost 400. Not only that, but these three shows had everything that young kids love. Lots of action, great music, and memorable characters that grew up along with the viewers, making shows like these nostalgic for many looking back on them now. Most recently, however, arguably one of the most popular anime has been a soccer show called Blue Lock, centered around creating the best player to be able to play on the Japanese World Cup team. Although the premise itself isn't irregular to what other sports anime are about, it's the fact that the actual World Cup is happening at the same time, and the timing could not be better for a show to create hype and display how great the Japanese World Cup team is. Both soccer and anime fans alike pointed out how similar the settings and circumstances of both the anime and the real World Cup are, giving an overall boost in morale and encouraging fans to cheer for the Japanese team. Through this short timeline of anime history, we can see now how anime was and continues to be an impactful piece of entertainment that unites people all over the world. In today's podcast, I would like to talk about Anime USA. Anime USA is a non-profit organization that seeks to discuss and promote anime and Japanese culture at large through associated arts such as storytelling, costuming, and voice acting. Additionally, Anime USA keeps an eye towards the future, exploring new and developing mediums of the visual and auditory arts, and always looking for innovative ways to spread anime and Japanese culture to an ever-widening audience. Next year, Anime USA returns September 22nd to the 24th at the Hyatt Regional Crystal City in Virginia. Founded in 1999, they have held yearly conventions since then, hosting over thousands of attendees each year, along with various famous voice actors and actresses, cosplayers, and musicians. You can find more about Anime USA and their conventions, which include various activities, events, panels, and artists that sell their merchandise there at animeusa.org. Thank you everyone that has made it to the end of this podcast. Hope you all learned a couple things about the history and culture of anime. Don't forget to visit my WordPress blog site at danthegoldman.wordpress.com to stay updated whenever I release a new blog about more animated related discussion and topics. And be sure to check out my SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/danthegoldman.